Hi guys, welcome to week 2 of color theory. I hope you all had fun with your hero portraits. This week we're going to start a new project, which is called a brand ID project, and it involves many different parts. It's really kind of exciting. The first week of this project, week 2, is logo development. I think I'm going to start by showing you a finished project so that you can see where you're headed, all right? So this is Paola's project. So each of you are going to get your own creative brief, one of the ones that we've set up for you, and you're going to do this project. What you're looking at is a presentation template similar to what you did with the hero portrait, InDesign-based presentation template. And this is Paola's. Her product was Dynasty Cookies, which are cookies from Korea. She customized the template using different fonts and colors, which is something you're going to work toward the end. And you're each going to get your own unique creative brief. So this is her creative brief. This creative brief is based on a real creative brief I use for real clients. Depending on the size of the client, it might be more complex, but these are the essential elements that you would need for a creative brief for a brand ID project. First of all, who are you? You got to know what the name of the company is. All of these companies are packaged goods. They're products. They're not places. They're not resorts. They're not restaurants. They're all things that go in a box, because ultimately you're going to make a box. So Dynasty Cookies, what do you provide that makes you unique in that field? So every creative brief, you have to have something that's unique. All products have to have a unique feature, otherwise they won't exist for long. Why does it matter? Why do people care that it's unique? Who is the target audience? So you'll have a target audience and you're going to work in some personas later on. We'll talk about that more later. Who are your competitors? You got to look at the competitors. What message do you want to communicate? And I always write this in the consumer first person. I will buy Dynasty Cookies because I like to serve my guests sophisticated treats that reflect positively on my own unique tastes. So you got to read through this creative brief, and that gives you a sense of what you're talking about and who you're talking about it to. And then a list of 10 words that reflect the brand. So this 10-word key list really helps inform some of your design decisions, choices about color and fonts and things like that. I've worked with real clients with these lists, and we spent 2 weeks just getting the words right before we design anything. So that's what a creative brief looks like. Then you're going to create a little piece of word art out of the 10 words from the creative brief. You're going to go into your target audience more deeply with what we call personas, and these are fleshed out real people that would use the product. And this includes basic information about them. So when we say psychographic, in demographic just means, how old, what gender are they, something like that. Psychographic gets deeper into what their behavior is like. So two people could be the same age, the same gender. On Friday night, one likes to stay home and read a book and the other one's out dancing at the club. So you have to sort of dive in and say, what do these people really like? Behavioral and benefit, this is two aspects of their personality. What they do that intersects with the product, and the benefit is what they get out of it. And there's a lot more on this in the assignment, so I'm just giving you a brief overview, but you'll definitely get more information. Inspiration, so this page is kind of like your own personal Pinterest page. You're going to grab things that inspire you, that are designed by others, that are referenced, that give you visual information about the product and the research you've done. There might be some competitors as well. Competitor logos, you want to see what the consumer sees when they look for your products. You want to see all the stuff that's on the shelf. Fonts, you haven't had typography yet, so we're doing sort of a intro here with display fonts and then info level fonts. Display fonts have a lot more personality but aren't as legible. and info level fonts are much more legible, but have less personality. And then you're going to do logo icon sketches. So pencil to paper, coming up with ideas for a logo icon. And I'm going to go into more detail about what that means later. But just to show you the whole presentation, in her case, she refined 3 of the ideas, added logo type in Illustrator, 1, 2, 3 ideas, and then brought them into this template, which we're calling a logo test, where you sort of like place it in a business card and letterhead and say, does it look right? Can I read it? Does it make sense? 1, 2, 3. From those, she picked this one as her favorite, her best. And this, up through this page, in her case 16, it'll be more like page 11 for you. This is what to do this week. But going on through the rest of the month, like final logo, a color exploration, color logo, a color palette with all the specs, business card, letterhead, envelope, a full mock-up of all the identity package elements, and then a package design. You're going to explore some package designs and then put it together. In her case, she put together a composite, Photoshop composite with it. And that's what the project looks like. Now, she went above and beyond. Once she got into it, she added a shirt, a van, a bag. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work. There's a lot of moving parts, but what you got to think about is you're just doing it one step at a time. And tonight, the first step we're going to talk about is the logo development. Any questions before I move on from this moment? No questions. Everyone's got it.
Yes. Did you say that we were making up our own business or we're going to find a business?
I'm going to show you. Okay, so here's what it looks like in the assignment. So when you go to week 2 and you go to logo development, there is download a creative brief. It's the first step. And you do that here. Click on this link. It opens a new tab with a document that has the name of the brand, a link to the creative brief, and a space for your name. So I see people are already signing up. So first come, first serve. You sign your name, you type your name in next to the brand that you want. Click on this link for the Dropbox link to the creative brief. The creative briefs are all InDesign files, so they can't be previewed, so you got to download it. And when you download it, you'll be able to open it in InDesign. So you go here, download a creative brief, download the presentation templates, which are the files you're going to use for the month. Then there's detailed information about how to do each step, defining your target audience, creating a logo icon, brainstorming techniques for coming up with ideas for your logo icon. Then you're going to do the logo process. There's a little tips on InDesign here. And then you're going to submit that by Sunday. Is that helpful? So just to reiterate, you are not making up your own company. You're downloading a creative brief from this link in the assignment.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Good. I'm glad you agree. All right, so like I said, step 1, get a creative brief, read it, do some research. In your creative brief, you'll find clues, hints, things that will give you inspiration. So for instance, if it's coffee, right? It's not about coffee cups and coffee. You got to read deeper into the creative brief. What kind of coffee? Where is it from? How do people use it? What kind of people would use it? You want to do some research. This is part of the design process. No matter what you're doing, you can do some research. Number 2, sketch some ideas. You're going to be really creative and come up with a lot of different ideas. And then you're going to refine them down to the best 3 ideas and test them out in Illustrator. 3 steps. This is what it looks like for the week. So since we had a holiday yesterday, Monday, we're really on Tuesday, which means a little less time for sketching. So just like last week, on Thursday, you should submit to the discussion whatever you have work in progress so you can get some instructor feedback. Without the instructor feedback, you're kind of working in the dark, and it definitely helps. I think you all felt that from your hero portraits, right? Was it helpful to get instructor feedback in the discussions?
Yes.
Immensely.
And then you're going to provide a little peer feedback to one of your fellow students. Take a look at what everyone else is doing. And then you're going to take your best 3 sketches, put them into these templates, add logo type in Illustrator, put them into the logo test options, put that all together in your InDesign template and submit that by Sunday. So that's the scoop. What do you guys think? Any questions? No, good. The questions are reserved for those who are not attending right now. All right, so let's talk about logos. All right, there's a lot of ways to do logos. There's a lot of different kinds of logos. What's the main purpose of a logo?
Brand identity.
Brand identity, yeah, well, so, but it really kind of helps you visually identify a company, right? And it tells you something about the company, hopefully. Now, logos have been around a long time, so there's like new logos and old logos. What I've got here is sort of a smattering of different types of logos. So I'm gonna just go through kind of the different types that you could possibly do. So we have what we call emblems, like Harley Davidson, BMW. These are kind of shapes that are with the type or the logo name embedded into the shape. So the shapes aren't really a thing. They're kind of like just shapes for the letters to sit in, like BMW, Harley Davidson, UPS is an emblem. American Express is kind of like that. And then there are what we call combo marks. It's like an image, like the image of a burger with the type in there. And then there are word marks like Coca-Cola, FedEx, Google. These are where the word is just written out in a sort of distinctive font so that you see the name of the company. And then there's this kind with an icon and logo type like Pepsi, Mercedes-Benz, Toyota. This is the kind of logo setup we want you to do for this assignment. And that's not to say that these other ones are wrong or bad, but this is really kind of the most efficient way to work on a logo, especially nowadays. And we just want to sort of narrow it down for you. So don't do an emblem like NFL or Harley Davidson. Do icon logo type. With that in mind, the first thing you do is come up with the icon. It's just the icon is just a visual that ties into your brand some way. It goes way back, you know, in the olden days, if you wanted your shoe fixed, you went to the sign of the cobbler. If you look at this painting by Copley, so the flags are logos essentially. The colors sort of unite people on one side or the other. This is the Battle of Jersey, fought by the British against the French off the coast of France. It didn't go well for Major Pearson. So it's kind of, logos and branding sort of are tribal in a way. They sort of group people together for good or evil. You see the logo in this painting by David? I gotta bring up my chat window again.
The one on the shield?
Yes, on the shield. Anybody know what that is? Ryan says a bear. I'll bring it up big again. It is a wolf. Yes, Ryan, a wolf. It's a wolf feeding 2 human children, Romulus and Remus, the founders of Rome. So if you think about it, branding and logos, they're part of who we are as humans. They go back a long way, like I said, for good or evil. This is still from a book called Learning from Las Vegas by Robert Venturi. Robert Venturi was an architect, part of this Gang of 10 in New York City. And he wrote this book, and it was sort of like an outrage, like, oh, Las Vegas is so tacky. What could we learn there? Well, it's a modern city in a way, a result of a modern lifestyle. He pointed out that, you know, like when you're driving down the road, you're hungry, you don't look for the McDonald's building, you look for the McDonald's logo. Well, the logo is more important than the building itself. And certainly if we get into the internet, that's even more so true. The image is really key. Here's a logo. This logo is actually pretty well designed and functional, and it follows the rule we talked about earlier with an icon and logo type. We've got an icon and logo type. Together, those two things, the way they're positioned and the way they're proportioned, is called a logo lockup. Anybody know why the icon is a plane? Nobody has a clue.
The flight to success? I don't know.
Yeah, I thought that was part of the.
Jasmine said it used to be a boat. That's right. Yeah,
It was a boat.
it used to be a boat. Okay. So the idea of Full Sail is that we help you overcome obstacles to get to your dreams, to get you where you want to go, right? So originally it was like a flying ship, like Captain Hook's flying galleon, which is sort of a great way to visualize that idea, like overcoming obstacles, like making your ship fly. So that idea was great, except I think Disney sued them and said, you can't use that image. So they quickly decided to do something else, and they thought, how about a plane? A plane also flies, and it overcomes obstacles, and it's more technical and more modern, so there were some reasons to pick that. The reason I would say not to pick that is because the difference is a ship doesn't actually fly, so seeing a flying ship is kind of amazing. Whereas a plane, they fly. So yeah, that's great. Also, you have the name Full Sail, which doesn't go with a plane. So now we have a fascinating story about the logo. So hopefully you'll memorize that. So later on, when somebody asks you about it, you'll be able to tell them. Anybody have that experience? You say you're going to Full Sail and they say, are you learning to sail?
I've had that
I've
before.
never had that.
No, everyone gets it. That's good. I went to Parsons. Somebody thought I was studying to be a parson. Anyway, there are other kinds of logos, like I said, word marks. These two companies have very distinctive, almost similar word marks. They're probably similar because they both are companies from the 19th century. And in the 19th century, I think it was okay to take a nice pen and write out the name of the company, and that sufficed to be a logo. Ryan, your question, a parson is somebody who's like a preacher. Yeah, old boy's right. All right. I'm preaching now. Don't do a word mark. Can I get an amen?
Wait, so you went to Parsons School of Design?
I went to Parsons School of Design in New York, yes.
Got it.
We want you to do the icon logo type version. That's the basic thing. So what this means, which is good news, when you're designing your logo icon, you don't need to worry about the type. Do not draw type. Do not hand write out the name of your company on the pad. You're sketching ideas for an icon. Icons are super useful. Like if you have an app on a phone, you need an icon, and a website, you need an icon. You need icons everywhere. These are actually cupcakes. If you go to the airport, you see a little image of a car. It's got a bump on the roof. You know it's a taxi. End of story. Icons can be really powerful and quick. This is the logo for the YMCA. A few years ago, the YMCA did a study for rebranding, and they went out and asked all these different people about the YMCA, and they came back and said, no one calls it the YMCA. Everyone calls it the Y. So why not simplify? And this logo kind of has an image of an arrow, like press start on the treadmill. It's kind of a dynamic logo. Can you think of an icon-driven logo?
Apple?
Apple, that's a great example.
Nike.
Nike's a good one too. Nike is so icon-driven that they don't really use the type much, but that's because of years of money spent promoting it. Chevron, yeah, that was a good one. Camel cigarettes. I can't think of what their icon is. The camel? Joe Camel? I don't know.
It's a camel, I believe.
I haven't seen cigarette advertising in so long. All right, let's talk about Apple, since we all have Apple computers, right? Or most of us.
I mean, Apple's all right, I guess.
Why does Apple computer have an Apple?
For the bite.
It was simple.
Right?
It's simple, yeah.
It's a simple. The whole process is simple.
Yes, all right. So think about Apple computers. This is how Steve Jobs started the computer company. When he first started Apple, most computers were made by IBM. You had to stick a disk in and enter the right code to get it to load the operating system. If you typed the wrong thing, it would just beep at you and you had to try again. It was incredibly unfriendly. It was inaccessible. It was really for like scientists and mathematicians and things like that. And so for most people, personal computing was not a thing. But Steve Jobs had this vision that it could change the world. So he eventually created the Macintosh computer. And when you turned it on, it said hello in beautiful 8-bit script, which was kind of incredible. And so you had a mouse, you could click on things, you could use a word processor instead of a typewriter. You could use a spreadsheet for numbers. Suddenly, it was super useful and everyone started using personal computers. And he was right, it changed the world. It really changed things dramatically. He made it work because it was easy, it was accessible, it was friendly. Now think about an apple. What do you have to do to eat an apple?
Bite it.
Bite it, right? You don't have to cook it, you don't have to soak it, you don't have to boil it overnight. You just bite it. It's accessible, it's easy. What was that? Who's talking? All right. So yeah, easy, accessible, friendly. It also has association with Newton discovering the laws of physics, and it has to do with Adam and Eve and the story of gaining knowledge and giving an apple to the teacher. There's all sorts of positive associations with apples. They're everywhere. Easy as apple pie. So it works as a symbol for, yeah, Johnny Appleseed. It works as a symbol for accessibility and ease of use, which is what they were about, right? Can you think of any other icons that symbolize the attributes of a company?
Newport.
Newport. Like the cigarettes?
Yes.
Okay. Again, I haven't seen cigarette advertising so long.
Pepsi?
Pepsi. What's the Pepsi logo look like?
Isn't it like a ball and it's just red and blue?
Yeah, it's kind of like a wave.
Yeah.
It looks like soda.
The Michael
Target.
Kors logo.
Yeah. How about Target? You said Target. I knew somebody had hit it eventually. I think I have a plant in the audience. Domino's. All right. Why is
Target and Pinterest are so close together. It's insane. I keep on clicking the wrong app whenever
Yeah.
I'm wanting to go in
Well,
one or the other.
Pinterest is a Johnny come lately there. Um, what anybody have an idea why it's a Target? Why they call itself Target? Who's their competitor?
Walmart.
Walmart. All right. What's the difference between Walmart and Target? What's the experience like going to Walmart versus the experience of going to Target?
Target's more clean.
Experience. The other is not so
Walmart's cheaper, Target's cleaner.
What?
Target is brighter.
Target is brighter.
It is brighter.
They sell clothes only at Target.
Yeah, well, they sell a lot more than clothes at Target. They don't
Yeah, I
sell
would say
everything.
Actually, straight to the point. When you go to Target, it's kind of like right there. Everything you need is right there, really specific.
Yes. I have to see who's talking.
Oh, Marquisa, sorry, I joined in maybe like 10 minutes later.
It's all right. I didn't have my window open so I couldn't see. Yes. So here's the story. I'll give you the brief rundown on Target. So Walmart started by Sam Walton. Sam Walton had this brilliant way of beating logistics, which is how to get things into the store. He figured out how to get things into his store cheaper, the logistics of everything, shipping and moving things around. And as a result, they could have cheaper prices at Walmart. So everywhere they opened a Walmart, the other department stores tried to lower their prices to compete. They couldn't, and they went out of business. And so they started opening up Walmarts all around the country. And every city they opened them, all the other stores went out of business. Some of the main streets went out of business. Eventually they got to Minneapolis, which was the head of Dayton's department store. And Dayton, the head of Dayton said, we're not going to play that game. We're not going to compete on price. We're going to make it nicer to go to our store. We're not going to have everything, but we're going to have the things you really want. And we're going to make it clean and nice and friendly. And thus they came up with Target as the brand. And it worked. They're still around. And then the end of the story is between these two giants battling, all of a sudden comes in the alien spacecraft from above called Amazon. And it wiped out everything. It's like Independence Day. Anyway.
You're not wrong.
So, Target is a great example of branding, though, because they're very consistent. They've got this color palette of this red that they use very frequently. You see it everywhere in the store, on the people's shirts. There's a certain attitude there, more approachable, friendly, more alert, I think. Sam, sad ending, yeah.
All of the registers are open.
Well, Sam, I say about this story of the battle of retail and department stores, you guys are going to be in the mix there to maybe participate or influence or make that happen. So it's exciting. New opportunities. All right, let's talk about some logos. All right, here's NBC. Anybody know why NBC's logo is a peacock?
I didn't even realize it was a peacock until just now.
What'd you think it was?
I didn't think it was a peacock. I just thought it was.
It didn't really register.
No.
I thought it was a rainbow.
Yeah, like I didn't even know about the bird.
So what do you think it means? It was the first in color, Abigail says. Yeah, they put a peacock on TV when it first had color TV. And I can tell you from firsthand experience as a little kid, there was nothing sadder than seeing that peacock on a black and white TV because your parents couldn't afford a color TV.
So that's why they made it all the different colors.
Yeah, well, I would think that today it symbolizes diversity and variety. And Professor Wood told me that each one of the different colors represents a different aspect of the programming, like sports and news. And so it tells you something about their variety. How about AT&T? What's that a picture of?
Like a globe.
World?
It's like the
Globe.
world. It's like the globe. It's like information zooming around the globe. This logo is now a 3D rendering of a Saul Bass logo, which I'll show you in a minute. But yeah, they've got information going everywhere. Does anyone know what AT&T stands for? It's American Telephone and Telegraph. It's Alexander Graham Bell's original company,
Wow.
and it's
Wasn't it
morphed
another-
into this.
Was it another logo? Or was it just the bell?
Well, they used to have a Bell, was a Bell telephone, and then AT&T, and they had a different. Well, I'll show you the logo in a minute. How about New Line Cinema? What does that logo tell you about them?
There's a movie company.
Film.
Yeah, it looks like a film strip, but the sprockets, one set is going a different line, a different direction, right?
Yeah.
Ryan's a fan. Yeah, so maybe we do things differently. We go in a different direction. All right, here's some logos that use different techniques that I think you can draw upon as you kind of think of your ideas. So the first one, imaginary friend. What's happening in that picture, in that logo?
Playing with her.
She by herself.
She is by herself.
Seesawing.
Yeah, but somehow the seesaw is going up, but nobody's there.
It's imaginary gravity.
Yeah, imaginary gravity. So what I love about this logo is that it forces you to look where there's nothing. Your eye just goes right there. Like the thing that's missing is what's cool about it. So yeah, sometimes you can use what we would call paradox, like something impossible happening. That's a great way to get people's attention. All right, paint the city. What do you see in that one?
The
City.
city and the paint bucket.
Two images in one, right? The cityscape
Yeah.
and the paint drips. So this is a great way to combine two images in one, to use the negative space of one image to create a second image. Yeah, the sky is red, the city is white. I don't know. Yeah, two in one images are hard to make. So if you stumble upon one, that's the way to do it. I can tell you that the way they probably came up with this is somebody sat down sketching a can of dripping paint, took another look at it and said, that looks like a cityscape. And they added that in. All right, maritime law, what's happening in that one?
Balance with sails or boats rather.
Yeah, they're like the scales of justice, right?
Yeah.
Just a symbol for law, but they gave it a twist. They made it different. So taking an ordinary object and making it different, that's another way to go. It's another technique. The next one, barcode, is two images in one. So there's a mug and a barcode, two images in one. Gym guide, same thing, two images in one. A GG, see the GG and the barbell. And then this embassy landlines. Anybody see the telephone in the negative space?
Yeah, I thought it was a job.
Oh, okay. I thought
It's an
that was an
old-fashioned telephone, yeah. So negative space could be your best friend. All right, let's look at some companies here. So what do these companies do? You've got the first one upper left.
Wine bottle.
Wine, yeah. How about the next one to the right?
Buttons or cinema.
Button.
A gun barrel.
A gun barrel.
It looks like a movie, the movie wheel.
Yeah, a film reel.
Film reel.
Yeah. How about the next one?
There you go. A plug-in.
It's a
A
plug.
plug, yeah. The next one?
Calligraphy pen.
Calligraphy.
Anything else?
Pencil.
Spoon.
It's a pen nib, but also
Spoon. Is that a
A
spoon?
spoon.
look in the negative space.
A spoon.
A spoon.
Spoon. Now
So
I
a
see.
pen nib and a spoon. What is that? What do you think they do?
Spoon with a
Or a
Make
chef.
calligraphy
Make
pens out of
spoons?
spoons.
They make pen spoons. Yes, because we all get those when we go to Kentucky Fried Chicken.
That could be a good chef.
Oh wow.
All right, the next one down looks like what?
A button.
Button.
A button,
A
right? And
button.
A button.
right.
It got braille on it. It looks like it has braille on
it does look like it has something on it. Yep. How about the next one? What's that look like?
A ring.
it.
Got
A
a
ring.
rope.
Engagement ring.
A photo.
Wedding photos. Sam
Camera.
got it. 50 points for Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuff.
How about the bottom one, the wrench? What do you think they do? Siobhan said house repair.
Okay.
Yeah. You see
That
the
looks like a
house in the
house.
negative space.
Yeah.
And then this bottom one is called the mill. It's actually a sound studio that's in an old mill, but these look like sound bars. But you can see this is the fashion center. It's got an F. The ED for,
Ah,
see that? The Guild of
That's
Food
that.
Writers.
That's
They
cool.
write about food. Horror film. See, it's a film reel, but it's also a face that's looking scared.
Oh, like the ski
I
mask
got
face.
Yeah.
Surprise emoji. I was.
A scared
good.
emoji.
Yeah.
All right. Now here's a logo that I really like. What comes to mind when you see this one?
glass half
Glass
full.
half full.
empty,
Glass half full, right. Now that's another case of paradox, right? Something impossible, visualized, and it also causes you to fill in the punchline in your own mind, which makes it very memorable, makes it powerful. If you can accomplish something like this with your icon, you're doing good. All right. Louise Fili, actually, let's see, do we have time for all this? I think I'm going to skip ahead a bit. Louise Fili is an incredible designer, and I'll just point you to her website for inspiration. Let's see. LouiseFili.com. She does something that I think is really amazing, which is sort of spark your imagination. She has a sort of style to her work that makes you feel like it came from another era. And this is one of the great things you want to try to accomplish in your career, is to figure out what you really like to do, what you're really good at, and get people to pay you for that. And that's what she does. So she likes this kind of style. She has her own style. And if you go to
Vintage.
her work and go to logos, yeah, it's vintage. It all feels like before World War II kind of to me. Some of it may be 50s, but even like this, the artisanal, and you feel like this has, they have fantastic cheese from some farm in upstate New York. Like it just takes you away. You can picture yourself sitting there having a glass of wine. This is one thing that you want to also try to accomplish with the brand, is sort of take people to another world, something they're not used to. And you can see it comes through in her impeccable typography, design, look. So if you get a chance, go to louisefili.com and check out some of her work. Let's see, let's go here. All right, so Saul Bass. Saul Bass was a master in the 20th century of logo design. He did logos for every major company. And this is the original AT&T logo that he did. That came out of the Bell, which he also did. There's a video.
Girl Scouts.
What?
I'm sorry. I saw the Girl Scouts logo.
Yeah, there's this is Pan Am, Girl Scouts, Lowry Spices, United Way, ADP, Continental Airlines, the United Way. This is actually Warner Brothers. This one I can't remember. Rockwell Aerospace, Dixie Kleenex, Quaker, Fuller Paints. So setting it up so that you have an icon and logo type as two separate elements, and they could be either vertical or horizontal, is the key thing you want to do. Everyone gets confused by this. When you say logo, you sit down and you write out the name. Don't do that. Think of the symbol, like the Apple or the Target. Like, what is the symbol going to be for my company? and you're going to come up with 10 ideas, and then you're going to take the best 3 of those 10 or 12 ideas, best 3 of the 12, and add logo type. And I say brand and category. So in the case of this sample I gave you, it was Dynasty is the brand, cookies is the category. So everyone has a brand and a category in your name. If you get confused by this, reach out and we'll help you. But I just point this out because every month somebody writes out the name of their company 12 times and says, there's my logos. You're looking for pictures. We're visual people. We want icons, visuals. All right, so more inspirational examples. This is from Charles Anderson Design Company up in Minneapolis. And this is how they show their logos on their website in black and white. Black and white is sort of like the proof of concept, the way you sort of start out. Just like your hero portrait started out in grayscale, you're going to start out in black and white, and we're going to add color in a very deliberate way next week. And you can see how he's got some pretty good clients. Warner Brothers, Paramount, Nike. They did this stuff for Turner Classic Movies, and you can see they would sort of, when there were bugs on the screen over the movies, so they had to have high contrast and really clear, like you know exactly what that is. They did this for this company called Custom Ink, which is a screen printer. So you can see the octopus, right? What else do you see in there?
Smiley face.
Ink drops.
Ink drops, right? Yeah, so ink
Yeah.
drops are the positive space and the octopus is in the negative space. This is such a wonderful, simple logo. You could draw it yourself using shape building tools in Illustrator. And this they call it Inky, the octopus. Inky has a lot of personality, right? Looks fun, looks happy. Inky doesn't have eyebrows, lips, teeth, ears, hair. You can do a lot with a little. That's kind of one of the goals, is to try to figure out what's the stuff that I really need. How do I get really focused on making my icon communicate? So now when I pick in a screen printer, I look at this and I think they look friendly. They look easy, accessible, clean, simple. All right. This was the old logo for St. Petersburg Clearwater. They are this fantastic destination on the west coast of Florida. And if you've ever been there, you would believe that they have the best beaches in the world, which I think is true. I haven't been to every beach, but that's my goal in life, visit every beach in the world. So they hired Michael Beirut from Pentagram to come redesign it. And then this is what Beirut came up with for the icon. What do you see in his icon?
Waves.
Waves. Yeah. Waves, wind. Do you see SPC? St. Petersburg Clearwater.
Now I do.
He added logo type this way in a ring, making sort of an emblem type logo. Now, one of the problems with doing it this way is that in order for the type to be legible, this logo has to be very large. So, but Beirut's a master designer, so he created a system. He has this logo, and this is more what you're going to be doing, like the icon logo type. When you see it all together, see this, this has to be really big, but it works. And then the icon logo type works really great on a small business card. They flooded the background, back of the card with the icon. And the icon, the image almost becomes a placeholder for different key attributes of the destination that they wanted to highlight.
Right.
Fun, right? I got to go to a luncheon. I was presenting at a St. Petersburg Clearwater luncheon for a charity I was working on, and they sat me at the speaker's table, and lo and behold, I was sitting right next to Michael Beirut, didn't know it, and asked him what he did. He finally told me who he was. I kind of fell on the floor saying, I'm not worthy, and It was silly. Anyway, here's another Beirut project. Fort Worth Museum. What do you see in the icon?
FWM.
Or you can see it.
Yeah, FWM. But it also looks like little fun building blocks. The thing is, this is a children's museum. So using it as kind of a fun toy almost. And you see it's very distinctive. It draws attention to itself in a good way. But it has what we call legs, like it could go a lot of different ways. Dixon's Apple Orchard. What do you see in the icon here?
Bear going for the apple.
Yeah, so it looks like that trunk of the tree is actually a bear. The type, logo type matches this really nicely. They pulled one of the leaves for punctuation. And there's sort of a cohesiveness to the logo icon logo type. This is another one. This company's called 3B, by the way, like their logo. Skarsgård, so this nail bent into an S, really bold and strong and great matching font to go with that. Now, if you look at the proportions of icon to logo type, we're sort of in the same realm as Full Sail. And, you know, a lot of these, they all have the same kind of formula for icon logo type. Here's one for latitudes. So this is a globe and an orange. It has a wonderful angle to it, and so does the type. So you're pairing up type with your beautiful image that you're going to create. Gimme Organic. This is Von Glitzka, and he's a master at these kind of iconic logos. So there's this turtle. The negative space defines him really well. Real simple. He looks happy and fun, right?
Mhm.
But he also doesn't have pupils, eyebrows, lips, teeth, hair. The simplest shapes. Typically, a turtle is not happy if they're on their back, but this one is. Seaweed snacks. All right. Von Glitzka is also a master at custom lettering. This is one of his specialties. I don't recommend this for you at this moment in your career, but if you want to learn more about it, he's got a great lesson on LinkedIn Learning about custom logo type. But I wanted to show you this Tommyknocker miner. He's kind of like an elf type. It's a mythological creature. But what he does is he does a very refined pencil sketch, scans it in, and then pen tools out half of it, and then flips it. And then he just bends a couple of pieces to make it asymmetrical. But that's like a great lesson in saving time and effort, because if you can do something symmetrically, you only have to do half. So think about that. Here's another one by him. What do you see there?
Snake in a bottle.
Snake in a bottle. There's no bottle, but the bottle is defined by the negative space in a great way. And this is called the naked grape. What comes to mind when you see that, the snake and the naked grape?
Wine.
Wine.
Like
Well,
Adam and Eve.
Adam and Eve, yes. Now, Adam and Eve, the story of Adam and Eve, maybe that's a positive association for wine because it's somewhat hedonistic and maybe a bit sinful. Maybe that's okay for wine, right? All right, so the company comes to you and they say their name is Big Ass Fans. What do? You got to do a donkey, right? And you can't do a donkey from the side. You got to do donkey from the back. Now this logo is really well done, great use of negative space. He created sort of a containing shape, the shield-like thing. The donkey pokes out of it a little places here and there. But look at the proportions, logo icon, logo type. And this is brand name category. That's the formula right there. And of course, what do they make? Really big fans. So that is intended to be your inspiration for the week. First thing is get your creative brief. Sign up for that creative brief. Download the InDesign document that is your creative brief. download the presentation template, but open that creative brief and start reading it and start doing research. Don't put pen to paper right away. You want to do research first. Figure out what your brand's all about. Look at those 10 keywords. If for me, I might copy those 10 keywords and just paste them into Google and search images and see what comes up. Could surprise you. There's lots of ways to brainstorm ideas. And if we go to the assignment here, I put a video in about brainstorming. This has all the different techniques outlined in several steps. It's a short video, but if you get stuck and you're trying to think of ideas, watch this video. Watch it anyway. I put in a LinkedIn Learning from Von Glitzka if you want to watch that. So there's lots of resources. The key thing is being creative goes like this. You start off and you think you figured it out and you start drawing everything out. You think, I got it. Then you take a look at it and you say, this is terrible. This is crap. I've got to keep going. And then you try to keep going and now you're starting to panic. And pretty soon you can't come up with anything and all you've got is junk. At that moment, you need to disengage, refuel your brain, do some creative research, explore your target audience, look at other designers, go on Behance, go on Pinterest, explore different aspects of your creative brief. Really try to dive in. And then when you go back for the second round of creativity, you start to have more ideas, and that's where you really hit the gold. No one ever comes up with it right away. When people say, oh, it just came to me, it didn't just come to you. Years and years are spent filling your brain with creative stuff. Right, Kira? Kira knows that because that's what you do. All right, so a lot to absorb. Any questions at this moment? You
Could we
can't.
have, oh, sorry.
Yeah, Dropbox is an unfortunate evil that we have to deal with. So I think I don't know that you have to sign into a Dropbox account to get it.
Mm-mm.
But
Well,
if
I asked that because when I tried to download it and I went up to my downloads, it wouldn't download it. Like it just kept saying reload, 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 but it never would download. And so I was wondering, did I need to start a Dropbox in order to download it, or?
no,
No, you
see
just
when
have
it
to click
comes
the
up like
link.
this, like I just clicked on the link and this is what I'm in Firefox.
Yes.
And then I can go to download.
So I need to be in Firefox, basically.
Well, I just know how it works in Firefox. So if I click download right here, it should be downloading.
Yep, that's the problem I'm running into right there.
Huh.
Google Chrome worked fine for me.
Use Google Chrome.
Chrome worked as well, as long as I did it on my laptop and not my cell phone.
Oh boy. Something new with Dropbox. I'll go to Chrome and try that. Ignore that. Download. Direct download. There we go. I'm mystified. Maybe something up with Firefox and Dropbox that I just came up. We've been using this for years and it's been working. So experiment with different browsers. I guess that's what I can tell you right now. If if you're having a real trouble and you sign your name next to a brand and you really can't get it, let your instructor know, and they can let me know, and I'll make sure that you get a link to the file for your creative brief.
Okay. Thank you.
But I think you're in my class, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah, so
I
I'll
am.
just give it to you. Which one did you want?
The YOLO cookies.
Saffron cookies?
No, YOLO. It's down at the
YOLO.
bottom.
Oh, YOLO. YOLO cookies.
That's me.
Copy the link. I'll send you the link. Well, you have the link, right? Yeah, just try opening that in Chrome.
Okay.
Just copy that link and open it in Chrome.
All right.
Just try it again. Yeah, okay, this one worked. Maybe there's something wrong with certain files. All right. Sorry about that. Hopefully you'll able to get your creative brief. Your creative brief is not an option. It's something you must have to proceed with this assignment. And like I said before, you cannot create your own company for this. Everyone's working from the same playbook here, so do that. Any other questions before we wrap it up?
Can you use design elements in your brand category, like how they had the leaf as an apostrophe?
So you're asking, like, can you use parts of your icon in your logo type?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I would say that the leaf icon, this is appropriate use of that. Yeah.
Okay.
Just remember that you're kind of creating a big quantity and narrowing it down through a funnel. So you start off with 12 sketches. Those 12 sketches may come out of 50 sketches that you do. 50, 100 sketches. You narrow them down to 12 unique ideas. And then you're going to take those 12 ideas and bring them into Illustrator. I say it's like The Bachelor. Like the best 3 sketches get a date with Illustrator.
Love.
And only one gets the final rose. So you're auditioning logos. The key thing is to let your ideas flow freely in the beginning and then get analytical later on. If you mix that process up, if you get analytical in the beginning, you'll never get off first base because you'll be so critical of your own work. You won't be able to create anything. Create without criticism.
Okay.
With the given color from the creative brief, do we have to use that as the main color, the dominant color, or can it be more of an accent?
We're going to talk about color next week in detail, but it will be, you will have to figure out how to make a dominant color. I'll just go through Paula's again, just to give you an idea. So she had that red as her assigned color, so she definitely used it, that 187 red. But she found other colors that played nicely with it. So that's part of the goal. There's her target audience, inspiration, competitor logos, display fonts, info level fonts, icon sketches, logo process 1, logo process 2, logo process 3, logo test 1, logo test 2, logo test 3. That is what's due Sunday, up through there. There are other examples. I don't know if I want to bring them up right now, but I will show you other examples as we go through the month.
Now for the sketches, can we do like different concepts, or does it have to be like the same concept?
No, I feel like I have not made it clear. You need to have 12 unique concepts.
Okay.
Redundant ideas don't cut it. You need to have, where is that slide?
Yeah, because like in a past like classes that I had, we had to have like the same concept but like 10 different sketches. So that's what I'm used to. So
all right, so just to be clear, when you're doing the sketches, I don't want to see any redundancy here. you know, this one, this circle and this with the bite out of it, they're kind of close. I would prefer that they were a little different. This one with the word written, don't write the word anywhere. You don't need to write the word. You want to come up with 12 unique ideas. You get points off for redundancy. A little bit of redundancy comes in when you refine them, and then you're testing out different ways to put logo type with it, maybe configuring the icon a little differently.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, that makes me feel so much better because I hated like the same concepts. I hate it.
Yeah, well, the goal is to explore as many ideas as possible so that you give yourself the best option at the end. We're good. All right, it's now 8 o'clock. I'm going to end the recording.